Every empire believed it would last forever. Some ruled for centuries, others conquered nearly half the known world. They built wonders that still stand today, commanded armies numbering in the hundreds of thousands, and changed the course of human history. But no empire is truly eternal. From Rome to the Mongols, from Persia to Britain, these are the 10 greatest empires in history. At number 10 is the Ottoman Empire, a dynasty that ruled for more than 600 years. It began as a small Turkish state in the late 1200s, but over the centuries it grew into one of the most powerful empires the world had ever seen. Its greatest victory came in 1453, when Sultan Mehmed II captured Constantinople, bringing an end to the Byzantine Empire after nearly 1,000 years. The city was renamed Istanbul and became the heart of Ottoman power. At its peak, the empire stretched across southeastern Europe, Western Asia, and North Africa, controlling major trade routes between East and West. The Ottomans were known for their disciplined Janissary army, impressive architecture, and a government that ruled over many different cultures and religions. Although the empire eventually declined and officially ended in 1922, its influence can still be seen today in the languages, traditions, food, and landmarks of dozens of countries. For its incredible longevity, military strength, and lasting legacy, the Ottoman Empire earns the number 10 spot on our list. At number 9 is the Achaemenid Persian Empire, the first true superpower of the ancient world. Founded by Cyrus the Great around 550 BC, the Persian Empire expanded at an astonishing pace, conquering kingdoms across the Middle East, Central Asia, and parts of Europe and Africa. At its height, it became the largest empire the world had ever seen, stretching from the Indus Valley to the Mediterranean Sea. More than 40 million people lived under its rule, nearly half of the world's population at the time. Unlike many conquerors, the Persians often allowed their subjects to keep their own religions, languages, and traditions. To unite such a vast empire, they built the Royal Road, a network stretching over 1,500 miles that allowed messages, armies, and merchants to travel faster than ever before. But every empire eventually faces a challenge. In 334 BC, a young Macedonian king named Alexander the Great invaded Persia. Just a few years later, after a series of decisive battles, the mighty Achaemenid Empire collapsed. For pioneering imperial government, engineering, and creating the largest empire of its age, the Achaemenid Persian Empire takes the number 9 spot on our list. At number 8 is the Spanish Empire, the world's first truly global empire. Following Christopher Columbus's voyage in 1492, Spain rapidly expanded across the Americas, Europe, Africa, and Asia, establishing colonies on nearly every continent. From the gold and silver mines of the New World to the bustling trade routes of the Pacific, immense wealth poured into the Spanish crown, making Spain one of the richest and most powerful nations of its time. Its legendary navy protected vast overseas territories, while Spanish explorers, missionaries, and settlers carried their language, religion, and culture across the globe. At its height, the empire stretched across millions of square miles, including much of South and Central America, parts of North America, the Caribbean, the Philippines, and territories in Europe and Africa. But centuries of costly wars, economic troubles, and independence movements gradually weakened Spain's grip on its colonies. Although the empire eventually declined, its legacy remains visible today through the Spanish language, architecture, traditions, and cultures shared by hundreds of millions of people worldwide. For becoming history's first global empire and leaving an enduring cultural legacy across multiple continents, the Spanish Empire earns the number 8 spot on our list. At number 7 is the French Colonial Empire, one of the largest and most influential empires in history. Beginning in the 16th century, France established colonies across North America, the Caribbean, Africa, Asia, and the Pacific, building a global empire that spanned millions of square miles. Its influence grew even stronger under Napoleon Bonaparte, whose military campaigns reshaped Europe and spread French laws, ideas, and reforms far beyond France's borders. At its peak, France controlled vast territories, including much of West and Central Africa, French Indochina, and large parts of Canada, before losing many North American colonies after the 7 Years' War. The French Empire left a lasting mark through its language, architecture, education, and legal systems. Today, French remains an official language in dozens of countries, and its cultural influence continues to be felt around the world. After World War II, growing independence movements swept across its colonies. One by one, France's overseas territories gained their freedom, bringing an end to one of history's greatest colonial empires. At number 6 is the Russian Empire, the largest contiguous land empire in history. Founded in 1721 under Peter the Great, the Russian Empire expanded at an extraordinary pace, stretching across Eastern Europe, the Caucasus, Siberia, Central Asia, and all the way to the Pacific Ocean. Its immense territory covered more than 8 million square miles, spanning 11 time zones, and making it one of the most powerful empires the world had ever seen. Ruled for nearly 2 centuries by the Romanov dynasty, Russia became a dominant military and political force. Its vast forests, frozen tundra, and rich natural resources helped fuel its growth, while the construction of the Trans-Siberian Railway connected the empire from Moscow to the Pacific, transforming travel and trade. Despite its enormous size, governing such a massive empire proved increasingly difficult. Economic struggles, social unrest, and the devastating effects of World War I pushed the empire toward collapse. In 1917, the Russian Revolution ended more than 300 years of Romanov rule, bringing the Russian Empire to an end and paving the way for the Soviet Union. At number 5 is the Han Dynasty, one of the greatest golden ages in Chinese history. Founded in 2002 BC, the Han Dynasty transformed China into one of the world's most advanced civilizations, ruling for more than 400 years. During its reign, China expanded its borders, strengthened its government, and opened the legendary Silk Road, connecting East and West through trade. Along these routes, silk, spices, ideas, and inventions traveled across continents, changing the course of history. The Han Dynasty was also a center of innovation. It saw the invention of paper, major advances in astronomy, medicine, and engineering, and established a civil service system that influenced Chinese government for centuries. With a powerful military, a thriving economy, and a population of nearly 60 million people, the Han Dynasty became one of the largest and most prosperous empires of the ancient world. Although internal corruption, political conflict, and widespread rebellions eventually led to its fall in 220 AD, its influence remains deeply woven into Chinese culture. Even today, the majority ethnic group in China proudly identifies itself as the Han people. At number 4 is the British Empire, the largest empire in history. At its peak in the early 20th century, the British Empire ruled over nearly 1/4 of the world's land and governed around 400 million people, earning the famous title, the Empire on which the sun never sets. From North America and the Caribbean to Africa, India, Australia, and parts of Asia, British colonies stretched across every inhabited continent. Its powerful Royal Navy protected global trade routes, allowing Britain to dominate international commerce for centuries. The empire also fueled the Industrial Revolution, transforming manufacturing, transportation, and technology, while making London the financial center of the world. Although its expansion brought economic growth and technological progress, it also involved colonization, conflict, and the exploitation of many peoples and resources. Throughout the 20th century, independence movements spread across its colonies, gradually bringing the empire to an end. At number 3 is the Mongol Empire, the largest contiguous land empire in human history. Founded by Genghis Khan in 1206, the Mongol Empire expanded with astonishing speed, conquering vast territories through brilliant military strategy, discipline, and the unmatched mobility of its cavalry. At its height, the empire stretched from the Pacific Ocean to Eastern Europe, covering nearly 9 million square miles and ruling over more than 100 million people. The Mongols were masters of horseback warfare. Their highly skilled horse archers could travel incredible distances, strike with devastating precision, and disappear before their enemies could respond. These tactics helped them defeat some of the world's most powerful kingdoms and empires. Despite their fearsome reputation, the Mongols also transformed global trade. Under the Pax Mongolica, the Silk Road became safer than it had been for centuries, allowing merchants, travelers, and ideas to move freely between East and West. This exchange spread goods, technologies, and knowledge across continents. After the deaths of Genghis Khan's successors, the empire gradually split into rival khanates, weakening its unity. Over time, internal conflicts and rising regional powers brought an end to Mongol rule. At number 2 is the Roman Empire, one of the most influential civilizations in human history. Founded in 27 BC under Augustus Caesar, Rome grew from a small city into a superpower that ruled much of Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East for centuries. Its disciplined Roman legions conquered vast territories, while an incredible network of roads connected the empire like never before. Massive aqueducts carried fresh water into cities, and engineering marvels such as the Colosseum continue to stand as symbols of Roman innovation. During the Pax Romana, a period of nearly 200 years of relative peace, trade flourished, cities prospered, and Roman culture spread across 3 continents. Rome also shaped the modern world through its legal system, republican ideals, and advances in architecture, engineering, and government. Many of today's laws, languages, and political institutions still trace their roots back to ancient Rome. But no empire lasts forever. Political instability, economic decline, invasions by barbarian tribes, and internal conflict gradually weakened Rome. In 476 AD, the Western Roman Empire fell, marking the end of one of history's greatest civilizations. Now it's your turn. Every empire on this list changed the course of history in its own way. Some conquered vast lands with unmatched military power. Others transformed trade, culture, and civilization for generations. But if you could choose only one, which empire truly deserves the title of the greatest in history? The Roman Empire, the Mongol Empire, the British Empire, or do you think another empire deserves the crown? Tell us your answer in the comments and explain why. We read every comment, and your choice might be featured in our next video. If you enjoyed this countdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more incredible stories from history.